In our next video here for Primavera Startup on a new project, we're going to talk a little bit about the WBS or work breakdown structure of your project. If we do this on the front end, it will establish your different phases or indents for your project before you start building actual Gantt bars. The WBS and indents are managed on a different page than the Gantt bar page, so we're going to walk you through how to add and take away stuff related to the WBS structure. So after you've completed your items on this front project page here, on the far left hand side you have a couple buttons you can select from. The one here that shows the Gantt bar symbols, if you hover over that, don't click on it, but hover over it, you'll get some different options you can select from here. One of them is called WBS. When you click on that, it brings you to this page here, which shows you, I picked the multi-phased blank template for my startup, and in that I have 6 phases here pre-populated for you to use and modify or take away if you don't need them. So what these are basically the different indent levels on your project if you wanted to single out different phases, either in sibling format, which is what these 6 are here, or you can add in a child below a sibling, which is basically another indent. So it's just a fancy way of indenting things back and forth. We have one parent WBS here, which is the main construction schedule heading, and then I had these 6 siblings that I had pre-populated. Under each one of these, you can add in as many children as you want. You can keep indenting just by adding children, or you can take them away by deleting them by clicking on the gear and removing them from the list. If you have items on the list that you want to remove, such as this template here that I had made, these generic ones to start out with, in order to eliminate items underneath a phase, you have to ensure that there isn't any activities underneath that phase. It's a fail-safe method to ensure that you don't accidentally delete an entire phase and delete all of your content with it. So in order for you to delete one of these, you just have to make sure that when you go to the activities page here, that there isn't a Gantt bar underneath one of these preventing you from doing it. If you try to delete something that has something loaded into it, it will present you with this error message here, which will say it cannot be deleted because you have associated items in there. So just make sure you clean up that stuff before you try to delete. You can also resort these in a different order if you want to by moving them up or down on the list. You can do that by right-clicking or clicking on the gear, or you can hold down the option button here and use the arrows, and you can resort them up or down the list depending on what order you want the project to be in. Once you get it in the order that you want, you can also double click on the names here and name these whatever you would like. So anything that you'd like there. And then once you're happy with it, hover back over this Gantt bar, go back to the activities page here, and you'll kind of get to see how you had sorted it, how you had labeled these items. It'll show you here on this page. So each one of these phases right now, I do have in the blank template, I do have just an unnamed activity underneath each one of these. In order for you to delete out, say for example, phase 5, I would have to remove this activity by deleting it out to have nothing underneath here, and then I could go back to the WBS page and I can click on that phase 5 gear, and now I should be able to delete it. So just make sure that on this activities page here, you have stuff cleaned up before you try starting to delete stuff. that is how you sort and indent. I'll show you another example here too on phase one. If I wanted to add in a child underneath phase one, say for example, there was a server room that we were going to turn over. I would add a child, which is basically just another indent underneath that phase, and I will call that server turnover. I'm going to go back to my activities page, and now you'll see underneath that phase there's another indent that I can add tasks underneath here. If I want to add a task underneath here, I can click on that, hit the add button, and now I can have another indented section underneath phase one. So that is how you add in a file structure to your project. All additions and takeaways for phasing all occurs underneath the WBS page. All Gantt bar activities of adding and taking away items occur under the activities page. So it's a little bit different than the past program that we've used, but it is pretty easy to navigate through and get used to it. So WBS stands for Work Breakdown Structure.